Hello and welcome.
I'm so glad you're here, settling in for the night. Let's just take a moment together.
To breathe out the day,
Let your shoulders relax.
feel the weight of your body supported by your bed. There's nothing you need to do now.
Nothing you need to remember.
Just allow your mind to become soft and open and ready to drift. Tonight we are going to travel, not to the great palaces of kings or the bustling markets of mighty cities, but somewhere quieter, and in its own way far more ancient. We are going to wander the dusty paths of the forgotten villages of ancient Persia. We will watch the potter at his wheel, smell the bread baking in the communal oven, and listen to the stories told under a blanket of 1,000,000 stars. This is a story of simple things.
Of earth and water and the turning of the seasons.
There are no great battles here,
No dramatic events.
only the gentle, endless cycle of life.
Lived in the golden light of the Iranian plateau.
So just let my words wash over you, painting pictures in the quiet theatre of your mind.
And as you listen,
You can allow yourself to relax, deeper and deeper, into a peaceful, restful sleep. Let's begin our journey, far away and long, long ago. Our story starts not with a person, but with a place.
imagine, if you will, a high plateau, a vast expanse of earth and sky.
Where the air is so clear and thin,
It feels like you could reach up.
and touch the dome of the heavens. This is the land.
Ancient, weathered and enduring.
The sun here is a benevolent king, rising each morning to paint the world in shades of gold and amber, and setting each evening in a slow, spectacular blaze of orange and violet that seems to set the western mountains on fire.
And the mountains.
They are the silent, sleeping giants that cradle these hidden villages. Their peaks, dusted with snow even in the height of summer, are the source of life. For from their rocky hearts flows streams of the purest, coldest water, born from melting snows that have taken centuries to descend. This water giggles and gurgles its way down through rocky gullies, becoming streams that cut through valleys of hard, sun-baked earth. These streams are the silver threads upon which the villages are strung, like precious irregular beads. The earth itself is a palette of soft, dusty colours, not the green of forests, but the ochre of clay, the umber of fertile soil, the pale, bleached yellow of sun-scorched grass, and the grey-green of hardy, thorny plants that know how to conserve every precious drop of moisture. The wind moves through this landscape not with a roar, but with a sigh, a soft, constant whisper that stirs the leaves of the poplar trees, a sound so steady it becomes part of the silence itself.
At night, the darkness is absolute and profound.
A deep velvet blanket pierced by a brilliance of stars.
Unimaginable in our modern world.
The villagers believed these stars were the campfires of their ancestors.
Watching over them.
And as we imagine this vast, quiet sky, we can feel a sense of peace,
And timelessness. Settling over us.
inviting us to let go. And as we follow one of these silver thread streams, we begin to see the first signs of human life.
It is not a grand structure, but something simpler.
A low wall of stones stacked carefully without mortar, marking a boundary. Then the sight of a single ancient tree, a mighty Persian walnut, its broad branches offering a pool of shade in the immense ocean of sunlight. This is the village gathering spot, the place of meeting and rest. And then we see the buildings themselves. They do not rise up from the land. They emerge from it. They are made of the very earth upon which they stand. Thick walls of sun-dried mud brick, called kesht, mixed with straw and water, pressed into moulds and left to bake in the hot sun. These walls are the colour of the land, making the village seem like a natural formation.
a part of the landscape itself.
The roofs are domed,
Curved like the shell of a turtle or the inside of a loaf of bread.
a perfect,
Strong shape that sheds the rare winter rain.
and provides cool shelter from the summer heat. The pathways between the homes are narrow and winding, not planned by any architect, but worn smooth over generations by countless footsteps, by the bare feet of children running, the sandaled feet of women carrying water, the hooves of donkeys laden with firewood. The ground is hard, packed earth, and your footsteps would make only a soft, shuffling sound,
A gentle rhythm.
a slow and steady beat that matches the rhythm of life here. And in one of these quiet homes, we find the potter.
His name is Dariush, and his hands are a map of his life.
Etched with lines of clay that never quite wash away.
Strong and capable, yet capable of the most delicate touch.
His workspace is cool and dark, a welcome respite from the midday heat. The only light comes from a small, high window, a single shaft of sunlight illuminating the dancing dust motes in the air. In the center of the room sits his wheel, a simple,
Heavy stone disc that he turns with a slow, rhythmic push of his foot. Swish, swish, swish. A soothing, repetitive sound.
On a shelf beside him are his tools, a piece of wire for cutting clay from the block, a smooth river stone for polishing, a few wooden shaping tools worn smooth with use. The air smells of wet clay and earth, a primal comforting smell. He takes a lump of cool grey clay from the covered bucket where it has been resting and slaps it onto the centre of the wheel. He wets his hands in a bowl of water and begins to centre the clay. This is a meditative act. The world outside ceases to exist. There is only the spinning wheel, the resistance of the clay, and the gentle, firm pressure of his hands. He coaxes the formless lump into a shape. His thumbs press into the centre, opening a hole that becomes the belly of the pot. With infinite patience, he pulls the walls upward, thinner and taller, a perfect, symmetrical cylinder emerging from the chaos.
He's not just making a vessel.
He is having a conversation with the earth. He understands its nature, how much water it needs,
How much pressure it can take before collapsing.
and as we watch his hands, so steady and sure, and listen to the soft, wet, spinning sound of the wheel, it becomes a kind of lullaby, a hypnotic rhythm that invites our eyes to grow heavy,
And our breathing to slow.
to match the slow sure turn of the wheel. And so life in these forgotten villages continued,
Season turning into season.
year turning into year, a slow, gentle cycle of planting and harvest, of waking and sleeping, of work and rest. The stories were told and retold. The bread was baked and shared. The water flowed from the mountains, and the stars turned in their endless, silent dance overhead. These villages are quiet now. Their walls have slowly returned to the earth from which they were made. Their pathways are grown over. Their voices are a whisper on the wind. But the peace they held, the simple, profound connection to the earth and the sky,
That feeling remains.
it is a timeless peace, a deep and abiding calm that exists not just in a place, but in a state of mind.
And you can tap into that peace now, as you lie here, safe and warm,
You can let the images fade, let the stories melt away,
and just hold on to that feeling of quiet.
and stillness, the gentle sigh of the wind, the distant glow of ancestral stars, the soft, dark embrace of a deep and restful night. You have done enough today. You have travelled far. Now it is time to rest. Let your breathing be slow and even. Let your thoughts drift away like clouds on a calm day,
And allow yourself to sink.
deeper and deeper into soft, welcoming sleep. The world is quiet now.
All is well, and you can sleep.
The pot that grows from Dariush's spinning wheel is not just any pot. It is a kuse, a water jug. Its form is not an accident of art. It is a miracle of function perfected over 1,000 years. He shapes it with a wide, rounded belly to hold as much of the cool, life-giving water as possible. The neck is narrow to prevent precious droplets from splashing out on the journey from the stream, and the lip is rolled outwards, perfectly smooth, so that when a thirsty person tilts the heavy jug to their lips, the water flows in a clean, clear stream without spilling down the chin. But his work is not yet done. Once the jug has dried to a leathery hardness, he will turn it over and, with a pointed tool, carve a small series of marks into its base. This is his signature, not a name, for he cannot write, but a symbol, a tiny bird in flight. It is a mark of pride, a message to anyone in the next village market who sees it. They will know this jug came from the hands of Darius, the potter of our village. They will know it is strong and well balanced, and will not crack over the fire when the winter teas are brewed.
And then it will be time for the fire.
The kiln is a small clay-domed structure outside his home. For a full day and night he will tend to the fire, feeding it with dried shrubs and donkey dung, carefully controlling the heat. He knows the exact moment when the grey clay transforms through alchemy of flame into the familiar terracotta red of all their household vessels. The transformation is silent, happening behind sealed clay doors.
All he can do is tend and wait, a slow, patient vigil.
Much like waiting for sleep to come, trusting in the process, in the quiet transformation from one state of being to another. The life of the village is tied to the stream. Its gentle, constant murmur is the soundtrack to their days. In the cool of the early morning, this is where the women gather, their large, wide-bottomed clay jars resting on their hips. They come not just for water, but for news. This is the village's quiet newspaper, its social meeting place. They speak in low, comfortable tones about the birth of a child, the health of an elder, the upcoming wedding of a neighbour's daughter. They kneel on the smooth, flat stones at the water's edge, placing their jars into the clear, cold flow. The water bubbles and gurgles as it fills the vessels, a sound so cheerful and life-affirming. Little children are often with them, tasked with holding the smaller jars, but easily distracted by a shiny pebble or a skittering water beetle. They are allowed to play, to splash their hands in the water,
to feel the sun on their backs.
The work is hard, but the atmosphere is light.
A daily ritual of connection.
To the water, to each other. A rhythm as steady as the flow of the stream itself. And if you listen carefully in your mind, you can almost hear it. The soft, low chatter of women, the laughter of a child, and beneath it all the perpetual, gentle babble of the water
over smooth grey stones.
A sound that has continued for millennia. A sound that soothes the soul and invites a deep, deep sense of calm. The heart of the village, its true centre of warmth,
is not the home of the headman, but the bakery.
This is a simple, square building dominated by a large, domed clay oven, a tanoor, sunk into the floor. Its outside is always warm to the touch, and from dawn until dusk a thin, sweet-smelling thread of smoke curls from its chimney, a signal to the entire village that life is continuing as it should. The baker, a flour-dusted man named Farzad, is already at work long before the sun crests the mountains. He starts the fire inside the tanoor with brushwood, waiting until the interior glows with a fierce orange heat. Then he will skillfully scrape the embers to one side, ready for the bread. The bread is not made by him, but by the women of each household. They prepare the dough at home, a simple mixture of flour, water, salt, and a piece of saved dough from the previous day. The maya, the mother of the bread, they bring these rounds of soft, proved dough to the bakery on flat wooden boards.
And one by one Farzad takes them.
With a practiced motion, he slaps the dough onto the inside wall of the scorching hot tanoor. Within minutes it puffs up into a perfect, golden balloon smelling of heaven itself. He retrieves it with a long, metal hook and places the steaming, fragrant naan back on the woman's board. The exchange is silent, a ritual performed countless times a day. The smell of baking bread fills the entire village, a warm, comforting, primal aroma that promises nourishment and safety.
A smell that tells everyone all is well.
The first meal of the day is a simple one, a piece of that warm, freshly baked bread, torn by hand and perhaps dipped in a little fresh yogurt or a taste of golden honey. The taste is earthy, slightly sour, and utterly satisfying. It is often washed down with a glass of dark, sweet tea, brewed in a small samovar that is always kept hot on the edge of the cooking fire. There is no hurry to this morning ritual. People sit on low wooden platforms or on woven mats on the floor, eating in silence or speaking softly about the day's tasks ahead. The pace is slow, deliberate. Each bite is chewed thoroughly. Each sip of tea is savoured. There is no concept of eating on the go. This morning nourishment is a moment of quiet gratitude for the grain that grew in their fields, for the baker's skill, for the warmth of the tea, and for the new day stretching out before them, full of familiar, manageable tasks. And as we imagine this simple, wholesome breakfast, the comforting weight of the bread, the sweet warmth of the tea, we can feel that same sense of contentment, a feeling that all our needs are met, that we are safe and nourished and can face the day with a calm and steady heart, a feeling that is itself a recipe for a peaceful mind and a restful body. In a small, light-filled room at the edge of the village,
Another kind of magic is happening.
this is the home of Anahita, the weaver.
Her space is a symphony of soft colour.
Skeins of wool, dyed in countless beautiful shades,
Hang from the rafters like a rainbow caught in a net.
there are deep reds from the madder root, golden yellows from the pomegranate rind, rich browns from the walnut shell, and a soft, sky blue from the rare and precious indigo that traders bring from very far away. At the centre of the room sits her loom, a large, wooden frame that looks like the skeleton of a giant bird. The warp threads, the strong, vertical ones, are stretched taut, like the strings of a silent horizontal harp. Anahita sits before it, her hands moving with a rhythm that is as innate to her as breathing. She passes the shuttle, holding the weft thread through the shed, the space between the warp threads. With a flick of her wrist, she changes the shed using the foot pedals and passes the shuttle back again. Each pass adds a tiny, almost invisible line of colour to the growing fabric.
Click-clack, swish.
Click-clack. The sounds of the loom are a gentle, percussive music. It is a slow art, a single carpet, dense with intricate patterns of flowers, birds, and ancient symbols, can take her many months to complete. She does not rush. She is present with every single thread, every tiny intersection of colour. Her work is a meditation, a long, quiet conversation between her hands, the wool, and the patterns she sees in her mind's eye. A pattern that is as steady and reassuring as the rhythm of your own heartbeat.
As you rest here,
Safe and warm, the patterns Anahita weaves are not merely decoration. They are stories. They are prayers. They are maps of the universe as her ancestors understood it. The repeating botte shape, which we might call a paisley, is not just a curved teardrop. It is a symbol of a cypress tree representing eternity and life everlasting. A running border of stylized flowers represents a garden, a paradise on earth. A small bird hidden in the pattern might be a wish for joy or a memory of a loved one. She learned these patterns from her mother, who learned them from her mother,
stretching back into the deep, quiet well of time.
As her fingers fly, she sometimes hums an old tune, a wordless melody that her grandmother hummed at her own loom. The fabric growing on her loom is more than just wool and dye. It is a tapestry of memory, of tradition, of identity. It is a record of their world. The flowers that bloom by the stream, the birds that nest in the walnut tree, the stars that wheel above them at night, all captured in a language of colour and form. It is a silent, beautiful history, woven one thread at a time, a soft, endless story
that you can drift into
like a dream. Next to the stream, tucked into a sunny, sheltered corner, is a small,
vibrant explosion of green.
This is the garden of old Bahram, the village herbalist. It is a fragrant, orderly chaos of plants, each one chosen for a purpose. Tall, spiky lavender bushes hum with bees, their purple flowers nodding in the breeze.
Neat rows of peppermint and spearmint spread their cool scent.
There is fluffy chamomile, sturdy thyme, and the delicate, feathery leaves of dill. Bahram moves through his garden slowly in the morning, his gnarled fingers gently touching leaves, pinching them to release their scent, checking for readiness. He knows every plant as an old friend. He knows that the lavender must be picked, just as the flowers open to calm a restless mind at night. He knows the mint is best for settling a troubled stomach when steeped in hot water. The chamomile, picked and dried, makes a tea that encourages peaceful sleep, much like the sleep that is gently claiming you now. His knowledge is vast and deep, passed down not from books, but from experience and story. He knows which root to dig for a fever, which bark to strip for a pain-relieving poultice, which berry, despite its sweet taste, must never be eaten. He is the keeper of the village's wellness, a quiet, reassuring presence. His garden is a place of healing, a place of quiet growth, and its gentle, mingled scents drift on the air. A natural perfume that promises comfort and care. As the sun climbs higher, the village becomes a playground. The children, their morning chores done, find their amusement in the simplest of things. A group of boys play Gorgichesham, a quiet game of strategy played with pebbles on a grid scratched into the hard earth. Their faces are serious, focused on each move. Under the great walnut tree, a circle of girls play a clapping game, singing a simple, repetitive rhyme in time with their hands. The melody is ancient, the words perhaps nonsensical, but the rhythm is infectious and joyful. A smaller child, perhaps no more than 3, is perfectly content with a single
fat chicken as her companion.
She follows it around, chatting to it in a language only she understands, her tiny footsteps unsteady in the dust. Their laughter is not loud or shrill, but a light, bubbling sound,
like the water in the stream.
They are creating their own world within the world of the village, learning its rules and rhythms through play. Their games are timeless, the thrill of competition, the comfort of friendship, the simple joy of being alive under the warm sun, a feeling that requires no words.
Only the gentle, happy rhythm of the moment.
The heat of the afternoon. As the sun reaches its zenith, the village slows almost to a standstill. The intense heat of the afternoon settles over everything like a heavy,
warm blanket.
The air shimmers above the baked earth paths. The birds fall silent. The only movement is the lazy, circling flight of a hawk, high up in the vast blue sky. The villagers retreat into the cool, dim interiors of their homes. The thick mud brick walls provide a perfect insulation against the heat. It is a time for rest, for quiet contemplation, for a long, slow siesta.
An old man dozes in a corner, his head nodding onto his chest.
A mother lies down with her baby, both of them sleeping deeply. The pace of life, which was already slow,
now becomes almost suspended.
A long, deep breath held in the heat of the day. This is a natural pause written into the rhythm of the sun and the land. There is no fighting it. It is a time to surrender, to let go of doing,
and simply be.
To lie in the cool dimness and listen to the faint buzz of a fly against the window, to feel the slight stir of air from a woven grass fan, to drift in that pleasant, drowsy state between waking and dreaming, where thoughts become soft and formless,
and time itself seems to stretch and slow down.
As the sun begins its slow, majestic descent, the fierce grip of the afternoon heat loosens. A gentle sigh of relief seems to move through the village. The world, which had been holding its breath, begins to exhale. The first sign of life is the soft creak of a wooden door opening.
Then another.
Figures emerge from the cool, dark interiors of their homes, blinking in the golden light, stretching their limbs as if waking from a long dream. The air, once so still and heavy, now carries a faint, cool breeze from the distant, snow-capped mountains. It is a breath of new energy. The shadows, which had shrunk to nothing at noon, now stretch long and deep, painting the village in new patterns of light and dark. The color of everything changes too. The harsh white light softens into a buttery gold, then a deep, rich amber, making the mud brick walls glow as if lit from within. This is the time for the second shift of the day, a quieter, more reflective time of tasks and companionship. People move with a renewed but still leisurely pace. There is no rush. The day's hardest labor is done. Now is the time to mend a fishing net, to sharpen a tool on a whetstone, to sweep the courtyard with a broom made of twigs. The rhythmic whisking sound of the broom on the hard-packed earth is a soft, soothing sound, a sound of order and care, a gentle preparation for the peace of the night to come. The evening meal is a simple, communal affair. In each home, a large, flat piece of bread serves as both plate and utensil. A shared pot of stew, perhaps made with lentils, onions and a few precious pieces of dried lamb, is placed in the center of the cloth spread on the floor. The stew is thick and hearty, flavored with the herbs from Bahram's gardenia, pinch of mint, some earthy thyme. There might be a bowl of yogurt, or some fresh goat's cheese,
and always more of the flatbread
used to scoop up the delicious food. Families eat together, sitting cross-legged around the shared meal. Conversation is soft and meandering. A father might ask his son about the progress of the wall he is repairing. A grandmother might tell a familiar, well-loved story about a mischievous jinn that lived in a nearby well. A story the children have heard 100 times but still listen to with wide eyes. There is laughter, but it is gentle, comfortable laughter. The act of sharing food from the same pot is an act of bonding,
a daily reaffirmation of family and community,
a ritual of belonging that is as nourishing to the spirit as the food is to the body.
And as we imagine this scene is shared,
simple feast, we can feel that same sense of belonging, of being part of something warm
and whole and good.
As the last light fades from the sky, Staining the western horizon with streaks of violet and rose, the village gathers. They bring woven mats and cushions and settle in the open space beneath the ancient,
sprawling walnut tree.
The air is now perfectly cool and comfortable. The first stars begin to prick through the deep blue fabric of the night. And then, the oldest member of the village, a man named Cyrus, whose face is a map of a long and interesting life, begins to speak. His voice is not loud. It is low and raspy, like the sound of the wind moving through dry reeds, but it commands a profound silence. He does not tell stories of great wars or kings. He tells the old stories. The story of how the mountains were formed by two sleeping giants. The story of the clever fox who outwitted the vain lion. The story of the first man and woman who learned to make fire by watching a lightning strike. His stories are simple, but they carry the weight of generations. They are lessons about kindness, about courage, about the folly of pride, about the importance of community. The children listen, their heads nodding, fighting sleep to hear just a little more. The adults listen too, for in the retelling of these familiar tales, they find a deep comfort, a connection to their past and to each other. The storyteller's voice rises and falls in a gentle rhythm, a soothing cadence that blends with the chirping of the crickets and the crackle of the small fire that has been lit for light, a voice that has told these same stories under these same stars for decades, a constant, reassuring sound in the turning of the years, a lullaby for the entire village and for us too, as we listen in the dark. The storyteller's voice eventually fades away, the last tale told. The fire burns down to glowing embers, pulsing softly like a sleeping heart. One by one, families rise, gather their sleeping children, and drift back to their homes. The village square empties, but the night is not silent. It is full of its own soft, gentle music. The crickets continue their endless rhythmic chirping, a sound so constant it becomes the very baseline of the night. High above, an owl calls out, a low, questioning who.
Who? That echoes softly across the valley.
The leaves of the walnut tree whisper secrets to each other in the faint night breeze. From somewhere far, far away comes the lonely, beautiful sound of a shepherd's flute, a simple, melancholic melody played for the sheep and the stars. It is a sound that speaks of vast, open spaces and a quiet heart. These are the sounds that accompany the villagers to sleep. They are not noises that startle or alarm, but sounds that soothe. They are the sounds of the world continuing its turn, of nature keeping its watch. They are a reminder that even in the deep dark, life is present and all is well.
And we can imagine these sounds now.
The crickets, the whisper of leaves, the distant flute, a natural symphony composed just for rest, a gentle soundtrack for your dreams. The final lights go out. Inside the homes, the final preparations for sleep are made. A last sip of water from a clay cup. The oil lamp is extinguished with a soft puff of breath, and the room is plunged into a darkness so complete it feels like a soft
velvet blanket.
People settle onto their sleeping mats, stuffed with sweet-smelling straw, and pull woolen blankets up to their chins. The day is done. All its tasks, its small worries, its moments of joy are now released. There is only the comfort of the dark and the steady, reassuring sound of a loved one breathing beside you in the silence of their minds. They offer a quiet word of thanks for the food, for the water, for the health of their family, for the protection of their village. It is not a formal prayer, but a feeling, a deep, wordless sense of gratitude that rises from the heart and then settles, leaving a profound peace in its wake.
The breath deepens.
The body grows heavy, and consciousness begins to gently fray at the edges. softening into the welcoming arms of sleep.
The village is asleep.
The world is at rest, and you can feel that same restfulness wrapping around you now.
Safe, secure, and deeply, deeply peaceful.
The dreams of the village. As the village sleeps, a different kind of life begins. Not in the world of solid things, but in the quiet, boundless landscape of dreams. The potter, Dariush, dreams not of spinning clay, but of flying over the mountains, his arms outstretched like the wings of the bird on his pots, soaring on currents of warm air, looking down on the tiny, beautiful pattern of his home. The weaver, Anahita, dreams in colour and texture. In her sleep, she weaves tapestries of moonlight and starlight, her shuttle moving silently between the threads of reality and imagination. The children dream simple, powerful dreams of running faster than the wind, of finding a cave full of sparkling crystals, of feasting on sweets made from honey and rosewater. Their small bodies twitch slightly, their eyelids fluttering as they journey through these inner worlds. The old storyteller, Cyrus, dreams of his own grandfather, and the stories he told under this very same tree. The lines between teller and tale, past and present, blurring into a soft, comforting haze. Their dreams rise from the village like a gentle, collective mist, each one a private, silent story. Yet together they form a soft hum of unconscious life, a shared breath of imagination that hangs over the sleeping homes. There are no nightmares here,
Only the mind's gentle processing of the day,
weaving memories into something new and beautiful.
a nightly renewal, as natural and peaceful as the turning of the earth.
And you too can let your mind begin to weave its own gentle dreams, soft and formless and kind. The village is not entirely unattended. On the outskirts, where the cultivated land meets the wildness of the hills, the dogs of the village are curled in loose circles. They are not purebred guardians, but hardy, intelligent mixes of who knows what, with thick coats and keen senses. They do not pace or growl. They are at rest, but their ears twitch at the sound of a distant fox barking, or the scuttle of a jackrabbit in the dry grass. Their presence is a quiet promise. They are the unconscious sentinels, their deep, slow breathing a part of the night's rhythm. Their mere existence allows the villagers to sleep in perfect peace, knowing that they are connected to the wider world by a loyal, watchful heart. And high above, the stars continue their slow, stately march across the heavens. The ancient Persians saw pictures in these stars, a mighty hero, a charging bull, a scorpion. They are the true, eternal watchers. They have seen countless villages like this one rise from the earth and eventually return to it. They have seen generations born, live their quiet lives and pass on. The light is old, so very old, and yet it feels gentle, a constant, silent reminder of the vast, beautiful order of the universe. Watching the stars, whether with open eyes or in the mind, is to feel a deep sense of perspective, that our worries are small, and that we are part of something magnificent. The deepest part of the night passes. The moon begins its own descent down the western sky. For a long time there is no change. But then, if you were watching the eastern horizon with the patience of the
Mountains themselves.
you would see it. The first, almost imperceptible lightening of the blackness. It is not yet light, but the absolute darkness softens to a deep, velvety blue. The stars, directly overhead, still shine brightly, but those near the eastern edge of the world begin to fade, like tiny lamps being extinguished one by one. This is the time when the air is at its coldest and stillest. A low mist might gather in the lowest part of the valley, clinging to the stream, waiting for the sun to burn it away. The world holds its breath in this transitional moment, balanced perfectly between night and day. It is a silent, sacred threshold. In the village, the sleepers are at their deepest rest, their bodies and minds fully surrendered to the healing power of the night. The only sound is the occasional, soft rustle of a goat in its pen or the distant, final call of the owl before it returns to its nest. This is the calm before the gentle awakening, a pause so profound and peaceful that it can ease the busiest mind into a state of perfect tranquility. In every home, the proof of life is this, the soft, steady rhythm of breath. It is the quietest sound, but the most important. The slow, deep inhalation, the pause, and the soft, complete exhalation.
In and out, in and out.
A sleeping child sighs contentedly. An old man breathes with a soft, whispery rasp. A young woman's breath is even and smooth as silk. This is the unconscious rhythm of the village itself. The in-breath, drawing in the peace and coolness of the night.
The out-breath,
releasing the last, tiny remnants of the day's cares. This rhythm is the same for everyone. It is the most fundamental rhythm of life. It needs no thought, no effort.
It is a gift, and you have this same rhythm within you right now.
You can notice it without trying to change it, just feeling the natural, gentle rise
and fall of your chest.
The cool air entering your nose, the slightly warmer air leaving.
In and out.
This rhythm has been with you since you were born.
And it will be with you always.
A constant, soothing companion.
Especially in the dark, when the world is quiet.
And you can finally hear its gentle, reassuring song.
A lullaby written into your very being.
In this deep, shared sleep, the village ceases to be a collection of separate individuals. It becomes one single sleeping being. The homes are like cells, the pathways are like veins, the stream is its lifeblood, and the breathing of the people is its single, slow, steady breath. It dreams its collective dreams. It rests its collective body. It stores up energy for the collective day to come. It is whole
and complete and at peace.
There is no separation,
no conflict, only the harmonious, silent functioning of a community at rest. This is the true heart of the village. Not the busy activity of the day, but this deep, quiet unity of the night.
It is a reminder that we are all connected to each other
and to the world around us, and that in letting go, in surrendering to the darkness and the quiet, we become part of something larger and more peaceful
than we can ever be on our own.
And you are a part of this too,
connected to this ancient peace across time and space by the simple human act of resting,
of trusting the night and allowing yourself to be perfectly and completely at ease.
In the cool stillness just before dawn, the warmth of a woolen blanket is a profound comfort. Woven from the fleece of the village's own sheep, these blankets are heavy. Not a burdensome weight, but the weight of a gentle hand resting on a shoulder, a reassuring pressure that stills the body and tells the mind it is safe to remain at rest. The rough, earthy smell of the wool is the smell of the fields, of the animals, of sun and grass, a primal, comforting scent that needs no name, only feeling. A child in the depths of sleep pulls the rough texture of the blanket closer to their cheek, a subconscious gesture of seeking comfort. An elder shifts slightly, adjusting the weight around their shoulders,
sighing as a new depth of warmth spreads through them.
This is not a time for thin sheets, but for the deep, enveloping embrace of something substantial. The weight is an anchor, holding them gently in the harbour of sleep, preventing them from drifting into wakefulness too soon. It is a tangible form of security.
A physical promise that the world outside is held at bay.
And that for now, the only requirement, the only thing to do, is to be warm.
and to be still.
Even in the deepest dark, the body remembers the sun. The muscles which worked in its light now rest and repair. The skin which felt its warmth now seems to hold a faint echo of it, a memory of golden heat stored deep within. The mind, which was busy in the sun's glare, now unwinds in its absence. The sun is not gone, of course. It is merely journeying beneath the world, and its approach is now felt as a promise of the return of colour, of the definition of shapes from shadows,
Of the renewal of work and purpose.
but that promise is for later. For now, the memory is enough. It is a ghost of warmth that needs no fuel, a certainty that requires no proof. It allows for a contentment so complete that there is no longing for the day, only a perfect acceptance of the night. This knowing that the sun is always there, cycling faithfully, allows for a surrender so total that sleep becomes not just rest, but a form of trust.
Trust in the world.
In its rhythms, and in the simple, profound truth that after darkness, light always returns. In the absolute quiet of the sleeping village, if you listened with the ears of your mind, you could almost hear it. The profound silence that exists between one heartbeat and the next. It is not an empty silence, but a full one, a silence that contains everything. It is the silence of the rock deep within the earth, of the star travelling light years away.
Of the seeds sleeping in the soil.
It is the space into which all sounds eventually fade and are absorbed. This is the silence that the village rests within, a breath held in the chest of the world. It is in this space that the soul replenishes itself. There are no stories here, no thoughts, no dreams.
Only being.
Pure, simple, undemanding existence. This silence is the deepest well of peace, and the villagers, in their innocent sleep, drink from it without knowing. And you can drink from it too. You can let the silence between these words, the silence in the room around you, become that same deep, nourishing well. There is nothing you need to do, but let the silence hold you,
As it holds them.
in a perfect wordless embrace. But now the balance begins, ever so slowly, to shift. The deep blue of the eastern sky softens another degree towards grey. The chorus of crickets has diminished, their song now spaced by longer and longer pauses. The first single tentative chirp of a waking bird echoes from a distant tree. It is not a song yet, but a question. A sleepy, half-awake sound that is quickly absorbed by the silence. It is a test, a check to see if the world is ready to begin again. For the sleepers, this is the final and most vulnerable stage of rest. The body is at its most still, the mind at its most open. The slightest sound, a dog's bark,
A door creaking could be the thread that pulls them back.
but the village is kind. The world holds its peace for a few moments more. The bird does not call again. The breeze stills. The universe seems to lean in, to grant these last precious minutes of perfect, untroubled slumber
A final gift of the night.
before the slow and gentle return to waking life begins.
And so the village exists in this moment.
A breath held between night and day,
Not asleep, not awake.
suspended in the beautiful silent threshold of almost. There is no need to move toward the day. There is no need to cling to the night. There is only this perfect, peaceful pause.
A feeling of floating, of being perfectly balanced, on the edge of everything and nothing.
This is the feeling you can allow to fill you now, the feeling of being between wakefulness and sleep, between thought and dream, between the story.
And the silence that follows it.
There is no effort here, only a gentle leaning,
A soft yielding.
a trusting fall into the deep, soft arms of rest. The village is at peace. The story is complete. The world is quiet,
And you are so very
deeply ready.
for sleep.
The words will now begin to fade, just as the stars fade in the morning sky. They have done their job, painting pictures of a peaceful place.
A peaceful time,
You can let those pictures gently dissolve.
like mist in the warmth of the sun. Let them go. Let them drift away.
Back into the quiet from which they came. There is no more need for a story, no more need for images
Only the feeling.
they left behind.
A feeling of warmth, of safety, of deep and endless peace. This feeling is yours to keep.
To take with you into your dreams,
It will be there.
like the weight of a blanket, like the memory of the sun, long after the words
Are gone. So now we let the silence,
do the rest.
the beautiful,
Healing, silence,
it is the truest part of the story. The space,
where you can simply be. Breathe in the peace, breathe out all else.
the village sleeps. You can sleep now.